everyone, how are you all? And today we are going to see how we can speak English in spontaneous manner or spontaneously. Now, what is the meaning of spontaneous? Spontaneous means suddenly, at any moment, whenever you have to speak anything without prior preparation, that will indicate spontaneous speaking. Tell me if this sound familiar, that whenever you are at any public setting, professional setting or personal setting, you feel lack of words, you feel lost, you feel anxious, you are not able to understand what you have to speak, how you have to speak, how to frame sentences and how to move forward. If this sounds familiar, then I'm 100% sure you must be suffering from the act of speaking English in a coherent manner, in a spontaneous manner. So let's discuss how can we remove this, how can we become more spontaneous. That means we are able to speak instantly, we have thoughts prepared which can help us to solve any question or any query. So let's begin. Now, the most important thing is the practice of listening. Believe me, good speakers are always good listeners. If you really want to speak properly without prior preparation, without any hesitation, then you need to be a good listener. Whenever we are listening, we are able to understand certain trivialities or certain unique points which can help us to move forward. If we have to speak in spontaneous manner or in spontaneous setting, then we have to see where are we lacking or what are the things which are making the situation haywire. First, we need to solve that, and for solving that, we need to listen. Listening is very important. Now you have to listen to everyone. Always listen to great speakers, always listen to those with whom you are having great conversation, because listening can help you to further speak. Believe me, whenever we listen, we also feel a bit intimidated or we get anxious, because we get in the process of thinking that the other person is better than us. What is he or she going to think? How am I going to present? So these factors really hinder our progress, and to remove such kind of errors, we really need to focus on listening. Listen while giving your 100%, give your full attention and try to understand what are the topics which are being covered by the speaker. What is he talking about? How is he presenting himself? What are the questions which he is answering? What are the points which he trying to put forward, and what is he trying to convince? What is his motive? Listen with all your attention. If you will listen to someone half-heartedly, then definitely you will not get benefits the way you will get if you will listen to someone with full attention, with 100% concentration. I have seen students, or I have experienced this myself. When I listen to someone with full attention, then dramatically, or I can say automatically, I am able to engage in complex and compound conversations. What I mean by saying complex is that difficult conversations can help us to communicate. So listen, because when we are listening, we are opening our mind to various kinds of ideas, various kinds of thoughts. See, everybody has a way of speaking. I might be speaking in a certain way, you might be speaking in a certain way, your friends and family might be speaking in a certain way. Whenever we are listening, we are also chattering. How are we chattering? Suppose the other person with whom you are talking is trying to ask a question, and you are able to understand the question inside your mind. So you must be trying to form ideas, or you must be trying to say a sentence in proper English to communicate your answer, to communicate your beliefs, your perceptions, your thinking patterns, and all the things which are important for your answer. So this way you are trying to speak, you are trying to help yourself. That will remove all your doubts, all your fears which you face when you want to speak automatically or impromptu or spontaneously. Now, spontaneous speaking also means impromptu speaking. Okay, when you have to speak immediately. So this I have given you as a vocabulary word, that spontaneous also means impromptu. Spontaneous speech means impromptu speech. Okay, so let me focus on my point. So you have to listen, and when you will listen, you will also understand the background of the speaker and where is it coming from. So I have said this before in this video, that good speakers are always good listeners, and if you really want to speak well, then you have to listen well. This is the advice which can help you to excel, or which can really help you to understand what is happening in your surroundings. So try to do this. If not 100%, try to inculcate at least 50% of the effectiveness of this advice. Now, the second most important thing which will help you to speak without any hesitation, which will help you to speak in an impromptu manner or in a spontaneous manner, is anxiety. You have to understand your anxiety level. Now, this is a very important and the most faced problem by many people who want to speak English, that we all are anxious. We get so anxious that our mind lose words. See, according to a research, whenever a person is depressed or whenever a person is getting anxious, getting demotivated, then he or she is losing 75% of the data which he or she must have accumulated inside his or her mind. We are losing our memory. The anxiety is so powerful that it can overshadow all your good points, all your ideas, all your memory, and this really hampers the growth. This really hampers your speaking capability. This really hampers the way you present. This really hampers everything. So you have to understand, where is this anxiety coming from, what is triggering this anxiety, and then you have to work upon it. I have myself faced anxiety issues, and I know if not handled properly, they have the capability of destroying everything. They can ruin your hard work, they can ruin what you are trying to say, they can ruin actually the circumstances. They are so powerful. Anxiety is motivated by negative thoughts. Now, in this case, the negative thoughts can indicate your embarrassment, your guilt, your fear that what others are going to think, which is really going to hinder your speaking progress or your speaking possibility. Now, whenever you think you are getting anxious, then you can try to breathe in and breathe out. Now, again, it can sound very basic and boring or monotonous, but you have to do it. This is the only way. Anxiety cannot be handled within a single day. It has to be removed with certain procedures. When I say procedures, I'm trying to accumulate the habit of doing some exercises like breathing exercise, which can help you, and again inculcating growth mindset. It will take time because it's an act, it's a form of disorder. If not a disorder, it's a form of feeling which can really dismantle your whole structure. So you have to overpower it with the help of yourself, because you are the only one who can handle this. Nobody will be able to help you when you are anxious, because it's a very, very, very negative feeling which will definitely hamper or hinder. Again, I'm repeating the same thing, which will hinder your progress. So when you are anxious, you are definitely trying to devoid yourself from your speaking powers, because when you will lose the ideas, you will lose everything. So my suggestion to you is, try to focus on your anxiety issues, try to find why is this happening, and really try to help yourself. Now, the next most important technique in progression of anxiety is focus on the flow. Now, when you are starting to speak or starting to understand that you have anxiety issues, or you're not able to speak in spontaneous manner, then you should definitely focus on flow. For that particular time, just forget what is happening. Just try to maintain a flow or develop a flow. Now, how will you develop a flow? You will develop a flow again when you will be able to suppress your negative thoughts, your negative thinking, and also by listening to others. As I told you, listening is important, because listening really triggers you to speak well. If you're not listening to someone, then you are definitely consciously or subconsciously sabotaging your career or sabotaging the way you want to express yourself. So do focus on listening, and after that you should focus on flow. Now when you will try to speak, you will try to observe your flow, and while you will do that, you will find hundreds of mistakes. But these hundreds of mistakes can be cured if you're able to realize that you are committing the mistake of not able to speak in a proper manner. Now speaking in flow can be accumulated again when you try to speak. It's a process. First you have to listen, then you have to tackle your anxiety, and then you have to understand your flow, and then you have to speak. Do this, it's quite easy. I understand that focusing on the listening part and understanding what the other person is saying can be tough. At the same time, handling anxiety can be tough, but believe me, this third pointer, that is focusing on the flow, is easy. Once you're able to understand the trigger points, then you will be able to fix this problem, because it is solvable and it can be cured with proper attention. Now the next technique which I can discuss with you is the SMART technique, as I call it. What I'm trying to say is that you have to focus and answer or try to identify what are the things you are trying to communicate when you are trying to speak. Like what, number one, number two, so what, number three, now what. There can be many more questions which you can try to answer while you are speaking, but these three are basics. For example, if you're talking about the weather, then you have to talk about the weather. What about the weather? You are trying to convey that the weather is very nice. So what? What will happen if the weather is nice? You can say that I feel better, I'm able to concentrate in a better way when the weather is nice. You can give hundreds of reasons to support your statement. When the winds are blowing, I feel very relaxed, and when I feel very relaxed, then I am able to give my 100%, and when I am able to give my 100%, then I perform really well, I succeed. So weather is important. You have to answer such kind of questions while you are trying to speak. Try to take these three questions first. First, try to understand what, so what, now what. And after that, you should focus on any other question or any other thing. Believe me, when you will try to answer such kind of questions, when you will speak, you will be able to accomplish half of your job. That is to speak in impromptu manner when you don't have any ideas to support your thinking or to support your speaking. Try this technique. Always try to answer what, so what, now what, and then move forward, and then try to enjoy your speaking, and then try to convey the other that whatever you are speaking does had a valid credibility or valid validation, and you can really move forward, enjoy your speaking, and express yourself. Now one more technique which can really help you in this matter is building confidence through practice. Now we all know that consistent feedback, consistent introspection, consistent conversation, or consistent critical constructive criticism can really help us to improve ourselves or really help us to speak in a proper manner, because we can only gain confidence with the help of practice, and practice will require adopting to certain techniques which will help us to master the skill of speaking. Once we master that, then we will be able to speak in an impromptu manner whenever we are presented in any spontaneous or unusual situation. This can be achieved. It's not that easy, but believe me, it's not that tough. With proper practice, you will be able to speak in a spontaneous manner. You will be able to express your thoughts. You will be able to express your perceptions, your doubts, your fears, your queries, everything. We all face fears. We all face with certain doubts, which can definitely help us to improve ourselves or question ourselves, where are we going wrong. The next most important technique is subconscious technique. Whenever we practice something again and again or regularly, then it gets registered in our subconscious mind. Now subconscious mind is not our conscious mind. It's a separate term or a separate technique which I can definitely explain to you in some other video. But when we get all the thoughts, all the practice practices, all the routine registered in our subconscious mind, and we are able to speak on any topic in spontaneous manner anywhere. So I am going to recommend all of you to practice few techniques. If you're not able to do that all together, try with a single technique and just help yourself. I wish you all the best.